houses work together.
Who is supposed to establish the mediation committee?
The two speakers in conjunction, and it does not even tie you to any political party that you need to pick from. It gives them the freeway, the leeway to actually just constitute with equal membership from the two houses, and let the people sit down and say, you want us to give the counties this amount, we have this amount, we have recommended this because of this. Let people get a consensus. So for us, it was just about the process, that before it goes to the president for assent, it needs to have gotten a compromise between the two houses. Yeah.
There are certain bills that have been tabled in Parliament, in the National Assembly now, which are contentious.
Yes.
And the Senate is saying those bills cannot be, in fact, we're arguing in court, those bills cannot be debated before this matter is sorted out by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
But Muturi, the Speaker of the National Assembly, says those bills have nothing to do with the counties.
Well,
it's about taxation, though some of them about taxation.
It is very difficult.
About insurance. That Muturi says they are not. They have nothing to do with county. They involve national. Are there certain bills which can go through Parliament without having to go through Senate?
You know, the Senate has been, it has been created as the protector of devolution, and
yes.
that is exactly our point of departure with the National Assembly and the Speaker, because he did a communication to the Speaker of our House and asked and forwarded the Division of Revenue bill. Then later, he said it actually does not concern the counties. Yeah. And if you ask me, there is nothing that concerns the counties more than the amount of resources that are taken to those counties. So from the beginning, and I'm sure we'll get this interpretation from the court, and we are hoping for a favorable one, that it will guide everything else. All these other, the Insurance Act bill, amendment bill, there is several, there are like 8.
Yeah,
and we've done a communication already. The lawyers are already on it, and it has given the National Assembly, I think, 7 days to respond. So I would say we wait. But that interpretation of the Supreme Court will really guide what will happen to the Senate, really, and to the relationship between the Senate and the National Assembly.
Just to take you back to voting in the Senate,
yeah.
Of course, you've made it very clear that the requirement giving the final say to your male counterparts is actually protected in the Constitution.
Yeah.
So basically, we're saying your proposed changes may actually require a national referendum. So the question is, do you think you have the support to actually move that kind of a change?
I would be very optimistic, because I think a process needs, even the longest journey starts with one step. In the meantime, 123.2 gives the Speaker the leeway to make the decision. So for us, we are actually just asking, first of all, for a liberal interpretation of what really affects the counties. Let the parameters be widened. But we cannot rule out, for us to effectively talk about affirmative action, we have to even look at the Constitution. And I will tell you something that happened in Kiambu yesterday, and it's actually a bill that I'm working on. Kiambu yesterday, there was a motion in the County Assembly to oust the Speaker.
Yes.
I know you know what transpired, and it became chaotic. But the ruling actually singled out and said we cannot oust the Speaker because we don't have the requisite numbers, because the nominated members have not been brought on board, have not even been gazetted. I really have not seen the Gazette notice for the nominated members. If you look at the Gazette notice that has all the County Assembly members, you'll see that not any county has more than 30% of women. Women, people living with disabilities, and the young people. Yeah. But business went on as usual. And Article 177 constitutes the county assemblies properly. It says it includes the elected and the nominated. But you see, we are using the card as convenience, in our own convenience. Because we say now you can't oust the Speaker because you don't have the nominated members. First of all, how did you elect the Speaker without the nominated members? Yeah. For me, it is also illegal and so wrong. But the affirmative action will need to really get goodwill, so to say, from every corner, because it is like having the Senate go on with the 47 without us. That means you miss out even in vying to become the Speaker, or the Deputy Speaker for that matter. You lose out in the composition of the committees. You lose out in the leadership of the committees. That means you'll play catch up. When you come on board, you'll play catch up. If IEBC has not still gazetted the County Assembly nominated members, it means they are going on. They have read even their budget with no input.
It's because the matter is in court.
Yes, it is. I know it is in court. Three cases have been filed on the same. But even us as the Senate, as protectors of devolution, and I'm working on a bill for that, so that we compel and make it very clear that even the going on, whatever happened is very illegal. In subsequent elections, it should not happen. So I think it is teething problems even with this affirmative action thing, especially even at the county level.
Gitonga in Meru says, well, Wangari looks so focused and I can congratulate her. However, I don't support the motion. These are the very people you have to convince that what you're saying is absolutely valid, because they have to go for a referendum. So convince them.
I know it will not be easy because of the way really Senate is. You know, when you're elected, I agree with you that the counties actually own you, so to say. So the constituents will want that their senator is the one who has a say. But for me, there are issues that affect people across the board, across the counties. And you cannot limit that to only be taken by people who only have the mandate of the people, so to say, and not the political parties. Then it means nominations then don't make sense. They really are not supposed to be here.
Because the concern is, yes, you were nominated, you are in the Senate, but there's the challenge that you might just become a voting machine for the political party.
Wow. Like I had said earlier, I think everyone comes from a political party, even the elected ones, or their allegiance, so to say, to the political parties. And I think the election laws in this country have also made it very difficult for you to even hop from any party to the other. So all of us come from a political party. Whether you're elected, whether you're nominated, we all have our political parties behind us. But the bipartisan approach in the Senate means that regardless of the party lines, it means then we should be able to go out there and protect the same people who we represent, especially when I say the special group interest, the women, the youth, the people with disability. It is upon the 20 who are nominated to the Senate to be able to pull that agenda.
Kimuhu from Nairobi says affirmative action has been misused completely to allow unelectables to enter parliament.
That, I think, is a very unfortunate comment, because I think when we talk affirmative action, it is not a permanent thing that will be here forever. It is supposed to be a correctional mechanism to level the ground, really, to level to a point where everyone has an equal chance of being elected. And I want to say, it does not mean that we'll only be doing affirmative action for the women in this country. Who knows? Maybe after a few years, we'll be able to go the other way of doing affirmative action for men. Yeah.
So perhaps just a final comments here. Of course, controversy surrounds the candidacy of Kathy Kilonzo.
Yeah.
And as far as the Makueni senatorial race is concerned, you have given your comments saying that in fact you've termed the prospect of Kathy becoming the first elected senator as refreshing. Perhaps you could tell us more about that, because she will actually, if she's elected, she'll be the first.
Yes, as you know, there is no woman who has been elected to the Senate. That is not to say
no woman who has been elected
governor. And that is not to say there were no capable women. Really, it is about the terrain of politics in this country, and we ended up being delegated to actually vie for the only women rep position. And it's also lack of civic education, because people are told, these people have been given this seat, so can you take that and keep quiet? So for me, if we have an elected woman leader, I would not, and especially a senator, I will actually support that, because it will be a refreshing thing too. Even if we don't succeed immediately to push our agenda, we'll be able to talk to her, I would think, as a woman. Because if you look at the way we approach even politics in the two houses, and there is something called KEWOPA, Kenya Women Parliamentarians, which I'm a secretary, I'm a deputy secretary to the organization. I will tell you, we do it in a very bipartisan manner. Regardless, when it comes to the women agenda, we actually team up. And for me, I would support her, so that even if there is something so burning and we have not been able to break through, we should be able to push it through her. But my only reservation is being sucked into the party tussles. I would really pray that she fights her fight and asks for Makueni people to support her, and leave the fights of CORD Jubilee to the people who are there when she wasn't. So
but it looks like she's got that slip.
Yeah.
The slip for registering from irregularly.
Well, the matter will be ruled this week.
They have been summoned. They
have been summoned by IEBC, and I know they'll make their ruling.
Because
and from there, then we can be able to.
The argument is that slip which she got came from the same book where President Kibaki got his nomination. They pulled number 24 out of that book and gave it to her.
Well, I don't want to comment because it's in court and I haven't seen it myself.
Not yet in court, I think.
Some two voters have actually petitioned
Yeah, I mean in the IBC.
Yes, have petitioned the IBC, and I hope it will do the right thing.
Yeah.
If for real she was registered, then there is no reason why she should not vie for that position at all. My only problem is being sucked into the code fights that, you know, are already manifesting themselves. Let her be focused and ask the people of Makueni for the mandate. And if they give her, then we are good, because it will be a refreshing thing to have a woman elected to the Senate. Yes, and especially a young woman. Yes.
Right, so perhaps just to wrap it up, of course, consultations are ongoing as far as voting in the Senate is concerned. Consultations with Speaker Ekwe Thuro and, of course, Senate Clerk Jeremiah Nyegenye.
Yeah.
What's the way forward on the voting?
I would. We are supposed to have a meeting with the Speaker of the Senate. We've already talked to the clerk, though informally, but we will do a formal petition so that we invoke the Section 123, Part 2 of the Constitution, that the liberal interpretation of what really affects the counties can be really expanded, the parameter, so that we also have a voice on some of these issues. If infrastructure is a problem in Murang'a, infrastructure is a problem in Homa Bay, and it is not, my voting does not advantage Murang'a over Homa Bay, then I should be given the right to vote.
And also the question of that written instruction for
yes,
voting.
and that we've already made quite steps, because there's already that form that has already been designed, so that anyone living can be able to deposit it with the Speaker and give the mandate for voting as it is right now.
All right. Many thanks indeed, of course, talking to nominated Senator Honorable Marther Wangari. We'll be right back.